Hey friends, welcome back to Reader's Workshop. Today, what I want you to think about before we even get started is I want you to think about if a researcher was trying to get to know you. Remember, a researcher is someone who tries to get a lot of information about something. So think about if a researcher was trying to get to know you, but they learn enough about you if they just watched you while you were alone, maybe playing in your room with your toys, or would they need to see how you acted at school, at partner reading time, at recess, at the park with your friends, right? When other people are around you too, right? So it's not enough to get to know someone by just looking at them when they're alone, right? It's important for you to know who they are around other people. So, in order to get to know a character in your series book, you can't just think about how they are when they're alone. You need to also think about how they are when they're with other people. So, today I want to teach you that to have deep ideas about a character, it helps to study that person's relationship with other people. So you think about what's the person like in one relationship or maybe in another? How does the character act around other characters? So, right, sometimes the character might act differently with one person than they might with another. They might be totally different when they're alone than when they're with other people. So, we're going to look at how we can do this today by looking at my Tommy Tales book. So, last week we left off reading about Tommy and his friends when they were at the dog shelter or the animal shelter. And we left off on this page. So we're going to go back and we're going to reread this page. And then we're going to think about how Tommy acts around the different characters and his relationship with them. We're not alone, whispered Tommy. We're in the animal shelter. This is where they bring all the dogs that get lost or run away. We came here when we adopted Taffy. Oh no, cried Kim. Does that mean someone will adopt us? They all felt very frightened, except Taffy. Who seemed happy? Tommy tried opening the door of the cage, but it was locked. Sam started shouting, Help, help, we're locked in a cage. She shouted so loudly that she woke the dogs. All the dogs started barking at once. There was a terrible noise. Even Taffy started barking. Stop barking, you're all driving me doolally, yelled Andy. The clicker suddenly jumped out of Tommy's hand. It landed on the floor and started spinning around. When the clicker stopped spinning, two little legs slid out from the bottom. Two little arms slid out from the sides. A little head popped out of the top. Hello, I am RK5. How can I help you? Squawked the clicker. All five kids stood with their mouths open. At last, Tommy said, You can speak. Of course I can speak, said RK5. I can speak any language. I can talk to animals. I can understand anything that anyone says. So now what I want us to do is I want us to think back to Tommy's relationship and how he acts with the other characters in this story. So if we think back to the beginning of the story, right? I'm going to go back to the very beginning. 1 second. So if I go back to the beginning of the story, right? I think about how Tommy acted when he was around his sister, right? Is his relationship with his sister the same as it might be with his friends, right? He said he was going so excited to go to meet his friends at the park, but then he started whining, didn't want to bring his sister with him. So he likes his sister, but he doesn't like playing with her, and he doesn't like her playing with his friends. So maybe his relationship with his sister is different than his friends, right? At the park, he was so excited to go meet his friends, right? He was so excited to show them the clicker. Now, his relationship with Andy seems a little bit different than with the girls, right? So the girls look like he was really excited to see the girls, right? But then Andy said he wanted to see it, and he tried to pull it out of Tommy's hand. But Tommy wouldn't let go, so they were pulling and pushing each other. And so Tommy yelled at him, saying, Let go, right? So do you think his relationship with Andy is the same as it is with maybe Lucy or Kim or even his sister? Right? It's a different relationship, it seems like, with Andy. It seems like him and Andy kind of don't get along that well. So when I'm looking at my book, right, I can think about a few different things. Get up here. So when I'm looking at my story, right, I can think about a few different things. Right? I can think about I need to find the spot to go back and reread, right? Which is what we did. And when we reread it, thinking about the relationship between the two characters. So we think about how the characters act with each other. Does the main character act the same with one person than he does with another? Is he different when he's alone or maybe when he's with his friends? Right? A lot of times we can learn a lot about who somebody is or who a character is in a series book by really thinking about who they are when they're with other people. So today, remember, I want you to make sure that it's really important for you in order to have deep ideas about your character. You have to study their relationship with other people. So you can also use your post-it notes. Remember, you always have your post-it notes, or maybe a piece of paper if you don't have any post-it notes left, which is totally fine. Or you can always use a piece of paper and pencil to jot down your ideas about this while you're reading independently. So if you have an idea about how your character is acting with one person, write it down on a post-it note. If you notice that maybe they're a little bit different with somebody else, write it down on your post-it note. So then when it's time for partner reading and you go back and read with your partner, you can share those ideas with your partner and think about how you can study this character even more and think about with your partner how they're different with other people. So remember, always set your timer for 25 minutes. Make sure you're reading the whole time and make sure that you're still continuing to read your series books about your character. Off you go.